I mean, yeah. Are we doing food or we're not doing food yet? Do you have another point?
Let's do food. Let's do food.
Yeah, like natto, I like a lot.
I don't
Actually. Yeah. And actually, the only Japanese people I met that did not like natto were actually from Osaka.
Kansai people.
Which was funny. Yeah. But, you know, the first time I smelled natto was my roommate Kohei in LA. And dude, I just thought like, I was like, yo, because my bed was right next to the kitchen. That was like, my setup was like Omario's setup in MBQ. So my bed was like right next to the oven, like probably 3 feet from the oven. And I'd stay up late working. And then, you know, my roommates would come down and cook and shit. And I'm all in the bed trying to not hear all the clanging and pots. And then, you know, Kohei's in the kitchen. And I'm like, yo. And I was getting real angered by this smell.
Like, did you fart?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, dude, and I told him, I'm like, yo, Kohei, we gotta take out the garbage, dude. You can't be leaving it like so long in the kitchen. I'm like, yo, my bed's like 10 feet from the garbage, dude. And
gonna get rats pretty soon.
He's like, no, and he laughed, and I'm like, that shit ain't funny. And he's like, no, it's not garbage. It's my food. I'm like, what? Yeah, dude. I mean, you know, the first time you smell natto, like that's some.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
So,
I know.
Yeah, and then he showed me. He's like, "Do you want to try?" I'm like, "Hell no." And then eventually I did. I pretended you know, they were like, "Oh, you guys, and you don't know what this is," and I was like, "Yes, I do." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, prove it," and I was like, "Okay." And I open it, and then you know, I'm just gonna eat it, and they're like, "Mazerun desho," like you gotta mix that, right? I'm like, yeah, calm down. What's the rush? I'll try to play it off, and as I'm mixing it, it starts bubbling up and looking all phlegmy, like mucus.
No.
And I'm just like, oh my god. And then I eat it, but actually, I do like it. It's also really good for your digestive system.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I mean, it's got like probiotics and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But what the food I did, I said natto, but what I meant was ikura. Ikura, not a fan. Not a fan.
Me either.
I'm an adult, so I can eat anything if I have to. But given the choice, definitely not ikura. Not uni. Not into that.
Nope.
You know what else is chawamushi?
You don't like
little
it?
cup? You know what I think it is? It's the ginnan.
Probably. Yeah.
Green thing. Oh man, I've had chawamushi maybe twice, and since then, like I just don't eat it. But I think it is the ginnan.
Probably.
I don't know what that's called in English. I mean, I don't even know. Is that like a bean? Like what is ginnan?
It's from tree, right?
Okay.
So
Is
yeah,
it like
I know what you're talking
fruit?
about. It's snap, it's
dude,
kind of like a fruit. But when you cook it, it smells bad. But people like them though. They have like ginnan sushi, right?
Yeah, it's like I mean, I'm assuming it's just an acquired taste. Yeah, no, I looked it up. It just says Japanese ginnan, so that wasn't very helpful, dude. That's stupid.
Oh, talking about ikura. I don't like ikura either, but still, man, I can eat it. But do I want to pay and eat? Nah, man.
Right.
I remember this one time. Went to this kaisendon place with my friends, and they're like, it's one of those places. The speciality is ikura don, and I'm like, okay, but you get the donburi with sumeshi, rice inside, right? And the master, the dude, he comes with a container full of ikura. It's full of ikura too. I'm not even exaggerating. And this dude, I think that's a part of the show too. You kind of have to hold up your the rice bowl, and with a big spoon, it's more like a ladle. It's just like, hi, and they put it up on top of that thing, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that after that is like, oh, they put wasabi and soy sauce, and of course I had to eat it. because it's kind of rude to be like, like, oh, ikura, I don't like it. And they're going to like, eat it. And you know how Japanese people do. Like, if they osusume some kind of Japanese food to gaijins, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the pressure's on.
どうだ? 美味しいでしょ? 美味しいでしょ? So yeah, man, I'm like, at one point, I stopped chewing, just like drinking the whole bowl, right? And
you're just trying to get it out of the way.
Just
damn.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, finish. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna eat anymore. Then this master dude, he came back, just. Hi, service desu. I'm like, no, stop. Inside, but I'm like, again, all the dudes like, ほら、美味しいでしょ? ここサービスいいんだよ. I'm like, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I had to eat them all.
Yo, dude, that's crazy. I had a similar experience.
What?
Dude, it's crazy how analogous a lot of like what we experienced in Japan is, dude. Like, so I had a meeting with an editor, and he wanted to take me to this place, and it was the same thing. It was like a donburi, like kind of sushi type place, and the same thing. And he's like, osusume, like I have something now, I want you to try. And I realize a lot of Japanese people, when it comes to foreigners, like if they know they deal with foreigners, they're careful not to like push things upon you because they've heard that there's things that they know that there's things that Westerners are not used to.
Right.
So they try to be like very kind of like accommodating and stuff, which is great. Like that's a great aspect of Japan. I know we got to talk about the things we don't like, but it's really nice that people really care about like, oh, are you okay with this? To the point where like if you go to Komini and you look like me, they don't even give you chopsticks. They just give you the fork. If you want chopsticks, I'm like, I would have to tell, ohashi de onegaishimasu.
Sumimasen, hi.
Right. Yeah. But like straight up, like service-wise, they're always like, foreigner, let's give this guy the spoon and the fork. So when we got there, he's like, osusume. And I'm like, of course, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And then he's like, it's ikura don. And it's a giant one.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like ikura is expensive. Like that's kind of like the higher level type of sushi, like toppings and stuff, right? So I remember before I even went to Japan, I knew I didn't like ikura because being in LA, there's a lot of Japanese places, and I worked at the karaoke, so we would go out and eat. Sometimes we'd have like a crew party, and like the boss would pay, Hideki-san would like, pay for the whole party and like. I tried ikura. The first time I tried it, I thought it was a berry. It was like some type of berry, like you got osushi, you have like, the fish, and then you have like squid and all these things. But then you have egg, like the little tamago. I always liked that one. So like, I'm like, so it's not just fish on these things. You got egg, you got, what's this? I'm like, this is some type of berry. It had all these little like shiny, bright, orange, like, little berry round.
Was it wrapped with nori, gunkan maki?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try this. And I think part of the reason why I was so shocked is because already in my mind, I had a preconceived idea of what it was going to taste like. I thought it was going to be kind of like sweet, sweet, savory, like, and then I bite into it and it pops. It wasn't like a berry, it just pops. It's like a membrane that pops because it's an egg. It's a fish egg, dude. And it popped, and then it was salty and fishy in my mouth. Nothing like a berry.
Yep.
And then I was like, and that was like, that was like the last time I ever willingly ate that. But the other thing I realized was, the next time we were in that type of scenario, I was like, dozo, ikura, ageru yo. You can have the ikura.
Yeah.
And people were like, yasashi, you're so nice, so kind. Because it's like, it's one of like the more like, I don't know, prized things on the menu is
like
ikura.
The last
so like
one you
for
want
me,
to take because it's good.
For me, it was like out killing two birds with one stone. Like I get to seem very nice and generous, and also I don't have to eat something I don't like. So I was like, let's go.
Yeah, man. Imagine eating ikura with a spoon.
Just a bowl full of ikura.
That was me.
Well, dude, I had to
twice, man.
Do that. Yeah,
in one
with
day.
This guy, when this editor. When it came out, it was a giant bowl, and it wasn't all ikura. It was mostly ikura, and then it had like some pieces of like maguro or something. It was kind of like I don't know if they call it chirashi or something. I don't know. There's like a name for it.
Chirashi don.
Where it's like a couple different
everything.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Chirashi don.
But there was a lot of ikura, and I'm like, oh man. And so we're talking, and he's also like, exactly.
どう？美味しいでしょ?
Yeah. So I'm eating, and I'm like, oh, and dude, like I almost vomited once. like it went in my mouth. And dude, like I'm not like that, dude. Like I can eat stuff, dude. Like I've been around, like I was taught to eat as a kid. Like you try everything.
Just came up, and
yeah, dude, it was rough. And all I was thinking was, you know how you ate yours in a hurry to get it over with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, like I was trying to do the same, but like it kept coming up. And I was praying, dude. I was just like, I can't, because imagine if I vomited in the bowl, dude.
Nah, man, nah.
Pull a George Bush.
Oh, no.
When he went to, you know, that's like mad disrespectful.
Yeah.
It'll make the person feel bad.
Yeah.
You know, and not only because, oh, you know, I gave you something you didn't like, but also like, oh, you don't like our culture.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, you know, some people take it to heart in Japan, you know, like...
Anywhere in the world, man.
Yeah, I mean,
and if it's on the expensive side...
Well, that too.
Then,
that adds insult to injury, dude.
Yeah, that's one thing my mom would always tell me, like going to different countries, you will never disrespect people's food.
Right, same.
If it's served, shut up and eat more.
Yep.
And say it's good. So like after like 2 bowls of like big like ikura don, just oishikatta desu. And everybody's like, yeah!
You know what they call that?
What?
Usotsuki.
すいません。こういう人間なんで。Oh shit. Ankimo. I don't like ankimo, man. It's a liver of...
Oh, it's also soft. It's kind of like uni, right?
Monkfish liver.
Yeah, nah, dude.
Yeah.
Nah, none of those squishy, fishy stuff. I'm not into it, dude.
Yeah, and that one, I thought, again, like this was, I went to this izakaya, and it's not one of those like cheap-ass izakaya we used to go. It was like a izakaya, Nihon-style izakaya. And they had all these like Nihon-style tsumamis, which I'm like, oh, okay, whatever's. Because I barely eat when I drink. And again, my tantos, my managers, they're like, ankimo to this and that. And they order food. So I'm like, okay. And Dakka, try ankimo. Kore Japanese ankimo. I'm like, nah, I think I'm okay. I don't really eat when I drink. But then, nah, kore honto ni karada ni ii kara, you have to try. But again, okay. The pressure's on. I took one, put it in my mouth. It was really weird. It's mushy, and it did not taste like, you know, reba sashi, like the liver we used to kill.
Kind of like a pate.
No, but it's not like that, man. It's like the consistency is really weird. The taste is really weird. It's all, and again, it's kusai too. So you eat one, your mouth is gonna smell like that for like the next 5 hours or something like that. So I had that in my mouth, and again, all these guys. だけど美味しいでしょ? 体にいいんだよ。食べて。So I like 無理やり.
Right.
Still like the aftertaste still lingering. So I'm like, let me get a namabiru. Down that shit. Still smell like ankimo. Another beer, dude. Yeah, and they're like, Daka, maybe it's too much for you. Get something else. So I'm like, let me get French fries. So I got French fries at Japanese.
How many times did they feed you this, dude?
Once, and that was enough for me. But it seems like a lot of people like it though. Ankimo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You're just a hater, dude. Nah, I probably tried it once, but like some things just like that old TV show in Japan, me de judge. You just gotta judge with your eyes, dude. You're like, probably not gonna try that. You know, your situation, you know, it's forced upon you. They're like setting you up for failure. They're like, hey, try this, buddy. This is great.
Even basashi was okay to me.
I like basashi.
Basashi also good. It just tastes like yukke.
Yeah, basashi's good.
Basashi's good, but ankimo I couldn't. Still,
but if you told I tried basashi, did I know what it was before I tried it? A lot of times I'm really bad about that. Like a lot of times I'm just like, oh, try this, and I'm like, cool. Oh, this is delicious. And then they ask me, what did you just eat? And like I have no idea. I don't even know what it's called, which is pretty whack. But like the basashi, it's raw horse meat, right? So I think most people would be like, what? But again, like I'm always up for like trying new things and stuff. So, but it was good. That's like a. I feel like that's more of like an oyaji izakaya tsunami, like for the old gentleman, the older gentleman.
It's like, but they had cheap places too. Wara Wara, Shirokiya, those places.
I'm just talking about who picks to get that. In my experience, at least, it's always people definitely above 40. But mostly like in their 50s, dude. I don't know if that's like, I don't see a lot of young people ordering basashi.
Well, you know who always ordered it? Seiya, Yoshi, and Taiga. They will always get like, basashi 3人前, 4人前. I'm like, okay, -1 because I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you gotta lie.
Yeah, but yo, one thing I was super surprised when I went to your place to stay. When I opened up your fridge, you had natto and kimchi.
Oh yeah,
and I'm
not
like,
very gaiji, right?
No. They mix that in Japan.
Oh yeah, I don't mind it all, dude.
Natto kimchi.
Yeah.
And again, just by looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not down with that, man.
I can top that, dude. I've mixed natto and kimchi and curry rice.
I mean,
and that's delicious, dude.
But curry's strong though, so I guess. But like natto
balances it out.
Could be, but natto, I can't. Still can't. I ate it.
You don't. I mean, dude, you're Korean and you really don't like kimchi that much.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I like grilled kimchi.
You traitor! How dare you, dude?
I know. My Korean friends like.
You get disowned, dude.
Yeah.